Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I've got two people with me on Zoom right now. I've got ETA and Gemi Rubi. Hey, you two.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, we just...
What's up, Jeff?
I'm doing great. All right, so Gema and ETA, they're on this podcast because ETA wrote and directed the film White Gaze. Gema was the lead actor in that film. White Gaze was at Film Invasion Los Angeles in 2024. It took home the Grand Jury Award for Best Featurette horror film. And listen to the podcast before this one, and you'll learn all about how ETA got into filmmaking, how they grabbed a friend and coworker who hadn't acted before and said, read the script. Hey, you want to be the lead actor? So, all cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Very cool story how White Gaze came together. But this podcast is not about your work. It's about your favorite films and other things, because you're going to answer the Discover Indie Film 4 questions, which are: name 3 favorite films, name an underrated film, name an overrated film, and name a lesser-known film that people should seek out. And I'll add that I know ETA, we offline or even during the thing, we talk sports a little. I like to do like a snake draft with this. So someone goes first with the first question, and then the other person goes second on that, and then they go first on the second. So like you take turns going 2 in a row after someone goes first. So who wants to go first and name 3 of your favorite films?
Gema.
Gema, you're first.
Okay. 3 favorite films. I feel like some of these might be like obvious choices, but off the bat, I gotta go with Back to the Future. It's been one of my favorite movies since I was a child. You can't go wrong. A very solid trilogy. Number 2 would probably be The Chronicles of Narnia. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Great trilogy, of course, but I feel like that first movie really hits home. Cinematically, just the books, the way it was shot. As a child, it really struck just that fantastical side in me. Number 3.
What's 3?
I mean, I'm going to tell you right now that the first 2, Back to the Future is one of the best films ever made. And by the way, it's also one of the best films ever written. It's just, man, that film is so well done. And
amazing.
Every little detail.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I love that you love Chronicles of Narnia, because actually I was a C.S. Lewis kid. I read every one of those books. And
yes.
And the movies are good. I can't believe that they didn't make a movie for every single book. Something weird happened.
Yes, I gotta say, I think they're so underrated. But I'm gonna go with my number 3, and I feel like this is an obvious one. I'm gonna go with Grease.
Grease.
I love musicals, actually. And again, I don't know. It's just the songs are great. Soundtrack is great. A few things that I would fix here and there, but I feel like overall it brings me joy. And honorable mention would be Surf's Up.
That was an animated one, yeah?
Yeah. That's an honorable mention for me.
Low key, Gema's a theater kid.
Were you a theater kid?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Because I was like, how come you didn't mention it during the interview podcast? But that makes sense, because ETA is just kidding. Well, I'll add that I believe I was talking shit about Wicked when we were not recording, and now I find out you like musicals, so maybe I should learn to keep my mouth shut.
Right.
I like specific musicals.
Yeah, Jeff and I were just kidding, Gema.
No, I'm not a fan of theatrical musicals. I'm not a huge fan of, but musicals where they break out. I don't know. It's things like Grease, Hairspray. I like those type of musicals,
And when the music isn't Broadway musical style music.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
whether it's 50s or disco or or jazz, like cabaret. I love cabaret, but
Yes.
when it's just like well, needless to say, I think I have a bad attitude towards musicals because I grew up in the era of Phantom of the Opera and all that stuff, and that Andrew Lloyd Webber stuff. That music just makes me want to pull my skin off.
Yes, I think it's just I like the fun and upbeatness of certain musicals. Yeah, that's where.
Excellent. Well, excellent list. Excellent list of films. See?
Thank
Hi,
you.
ETA. You ready?
Sure. Yeah. So I have 5, maybe 6 definitive favorite films, and they're favorite films for a variation of reasons, but I'll name 4 today. First one is the Nicole Kidman starring Birth, which is a film by Jonathan Glazer, who did Under the Skin, and what's that recent one?
Interest.
Zone of Interest.
Zone of Interest.
Yeah, it's just
he did that film Sexy Beast that I love.
Sexy Beast too. With Banks Kingsley. But Birth is a beautiful film. It's like entrancing. There's a fairy tale aspect with a beautiful score by Alexander Desplat. That's one. Lost in Translation is probably a building block in terms of my aesthetic as a filmmaker, which is not necessarily seen in white gaze, but hopefully it's more prevalent as I make more projects. And it's the first movie where I watched it and felt like another filmmaker saw through my eyes. And, I think that's Sofia Coppola's masterpiece. Children of Men, I remember seeing that in theaters and loving it. And I remember it was a box office bomb, and it's like gained a cult following now. It's been, kind of reprised critically, but I remember not having strong reviews when it wasn't released theatrically. But gosh, that is such an amazing big budget film. It's so impressive. Alfonso Cuarón just did an amazing job, and some of those sequences are so cool. Like that one shot with the motorcycle as they're driving down the road, classic. And one more, since I'm doing 4, I really like probably one of my favorite directors is a Pitchapong. They're a Thai auteur, and my favorite there is this film they've made called Cemetery of Splendor. It's just really meditative, and there's always like a subtle whimsy to all their work and a ethereal element. So, yeah,
I'm sorry. What was the word before Splendor?
Cemetery of Splendor.
Cemetery of Splendor.
Yeah, and Pitchapong is really cool because their ethos in filmmaking is if you fall asleep, that's totally cool because their their movies are supposed to be experienced in the liminal space of dreams. So
very cool. Well, I have to say that excellent list, and I don't know if you saw my face, but Children of Men for me is it's probably top 3.
Yeah.
It's like one of the few films. My top 3, which I won't bother going into, are mostly stuff I saw in my 20s, right? Like you tend to love the stuff you see when you're younger.
Yeah.
But when I saw Children of Men, I was like, I just think that's the best. That's one of the greatest. That's such a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's such a huge achievement. Like it just goes in all cylinders, fires in all cylinders, and the detail, the social commentary, the political commentary, the music, the performances, the filmmaking is just.
And I always point out that the hero, Clive Owen, never picks up a gun. In a film with guns everywhere, the hero never commits one act of violence. In a very action-heavy film, violence-heavy film.
Yeah. Hannah, have you seen Children of Men?
No, I haven't.
You gotta put it on the top of your list. One of the most rewatchable movies ever, too.
I'm gonna write it down, actually, like right now.
For sure, like I wrote down Cemetery of Splendor. All right. Well,
Uh,
yeah, you want to start off with question two, which is a film that you feel is underrated?
sure, yeah, okay. Underrated. Arrival. I just saw that again recently, and I wish that I had watched that or revisited before I started making my last project, Menstrual, because there's so many similarities that I didn't even realize. But Arrival is a beautiful film by the director of the Dune movies, Denis Villeneuve. And I think it got some Oscar recognition, but it's not something that's really spoken about too much. But I think it's just a beautiful, poetic masterpiece about time and memory. Yeah,
Time and
it's
memory and language, right? The importance
and
of
language.
language.
Exactly.
How
Yeah.
many people have ever made a film about language?
A sci-fi film, a large-scale sci-fi film about language, time, and memory.
Amazing.
That's poignant and entertaining and suspenseful. It's another masterwork, I think.
For sure. For sure. All right, Hema, do you is there a film that you can share that you feel is underrated? People should give it more credit than it gets?
Ooh, I this is such a subjective question because I feel like this is like I'm pretty sure it is like given its flowers, but I don't hear it being talked
Grease,
about.
Grease
Huh?
2.
No, no. I was actually gonna say The Mummy.
The Mummy.
Huh.
Yeah, like people obviously know of it, like it's talked about, but I
Yeah.
No,
feel
but they don't
like
respect it. They don't respect that it's a
yeah,
kick-ass,
it's a
fun,
great film.
supernatural action movie.
Yeah,
Brendan Fraser, come on.
yeah,
They don't put respect on the name.
yeah. I feel like it's definitely one of those movies that like not everyone has watched. Um, you know, I feel like everybody should watch it. It's a great film. I love The Mummy. Yeah.
I'm with you. And like, what can I say? I'll bring my player hating back in briefly and say that I think people tend to diss like Brendan Fraser movies and stuff because as part of that was back when like we had the big Hollywood star system, right? And like if it wasn't Tom Cruise, then it was like, oh, it's a lower, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
the Jordan Tom Cruise.
the Mummy doesn't get the respect that all the other
Yeah.
supernatural superhero kind of vibe films get.
Which is that kind of ironic now? That, like, didn't they make a Mummy reboot with Tom Cruise and it bombed?
Did they?
Right. Yeah, yeah. They made a Mummy reboot that was supposed to like kick off their monster universe and it didn't do well, starring Tom Cruise, and I think they scrapped the plans because of it.
Well,
It
should have
is
just been like,
it is that was how I knew the star system was over when Tom Cruise could be in a movie and it would lose money.
Uh-huh.
Wow, that didn't happen in the 90s.
Yeah, you could just plaster a superstar face, a movie star's face on a poster and make 100 mil easy.
Yeah,
Nowadays,
you give that person 20 million because they would lock in a profit. Yeah, not
yeah.
anymore. Not anymore. All right, well, Hema, no pressure, but do you want to name a film that is overrated? Everyone tells you it's great, and you're like, that movie's not great.
okay, I actually do. Um, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I have two film franchises that I feel like are overrated. Harry Potter and Star Wars.
Right on. That is some beautiful, beautiful.
Overrated?
Yes.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang. I've
Order of
heard
the
Star Wars before.
Prisoners of the Azkaban, Order of the Phoenix.
I will say that like take my Star Wars criticism with a grain of salt. I have not finished
Even the OG
half
Star
of the
Wars? Or are you talking
franchise.
about the Disney Star Wars?
OG Star Wars. I have not finished
Okay, okay.
majority of the films, but that's where it's coming from. I was expecting a great film series. I was not captivated. I was like, okay, like this isn't as great as everyone makes it out to be.
No, it's not. It's not great. It was just they were just kids' films, so like people fell in love with them as kids. But I will personally defend the very first one, which was a movie called Star Wars that came out in 1977. It's not A New Hope. It's just Star Wars.
Mm,
That one's pretty good. Yeah, but by the third one, it's teddy bears. What are you gonna do?
yeah,
Ewoks.
Ewoks. Ewoks running around.
and
But boy, Harry Potter. Did you read the Harry Potter books?
that's one of
That's why
my
you don't love the films.
because I tried reading them as a kid, as they are marketed as children's books, and I did not understand the books at all. And my logic, even as a kid, I was like, this is supposed to be for kids. Why can't I understand it? Why does it make no sense to me? Let me try to watch the movie. I tried watching the movies. I'm not interested in these. Are these meant for me, the kid? So yeah, I'm not a fan.
Fair
And
enough.
I feel like they're too over. They're like it's so hyped now that I don't want to rewatch. I don't want to watch them because I feel like I'm gonna be disappointed. Yeah.
Hey, well, what can I say? I had a niece tell me that I was cool, and then she found out I hadn't read the Harry Potter books. She's like, "You can't be cool to read those books."
I guess
So I read them and I loved them as an adult. I don't know what
I
it's
guess
like to read them as a kid, but and then honestly, I love those movies. I can't. I actually do like to piss off my Star Wars friends because my generation is like we're so into Star Wars, it's ridiculous, and I love to piss them off by going, Harry Potter is superior to Star Wars. I mean, it's just so good.
I guess I piss off everyone then because I haven't watched anything.
You're pissing on both sides of the argument.
You are.
See,
Next you'll be. No, I'm kidding. I couldn't even think.
Hannah's divisive.
Yeah, no, but good. Hey,
Throwing
I've
barbs.
already talked about, hey, Chronicles of Narnia. No matter I'll always be your fan because you name that. All right.
Yeah.
Everybody's catching strays.
Yeah. All right, ETA, you got an overrated ready?
Overrated. Yeah, I guess like recently, I was going on this little mini crusade, mostly to my friends, because you never know who you might work with in the future. So whatever I say as a disclaimer on here, if it ever gets found, there's positive traits to your work, and this is just my personal opinion on a specific work, not your overall talent. But that being said, I went on a little personal crusade, and I do have I do look sideways at people in terms of like whether I respect them cinematically if they were fans of Longlegs or Saltburn.
Right. So
I
when
think
people told you Longlegs and Saltburn were amazing, you were like, huh?
okay, we're not going to talk about movies anymore. I don't need your Rex.
Well,
I don't
and
need to.
I don't need your Rex. Keep your reps for your Rex. Yeah, I mean, Longlegs was a little. I find it a little bit pretentious. It was really slow, which is fine, but I think it felt like somebody who's posturing. That's like I think I've ever been a fan of Oz Perkins' work, and Longlegs was just like a validation. Even though I really wanted to like it, I was actually excited to see it. Just kind of felt flat. Felt like there were a lot of holes. Somebody that probably had like a torture fetish, a horror fetish, making a movie for their own little, you know, enjoyment. And Saltburn just felt like it wanted to be risque. And I know the movies from the 90s and 2000s and even like the 2010s, the indie films, and that ain't risque, that didn't go that hard. And people thinking that it went like, oh, it's it was so brutally grotesque and it was so disgusting and it went places. And like, dude, you haven't seen indie films from the 90s or 2000s, or 80s. So
I got your back. I got your back on this because honestly, yeah, I like Saltburn. I had a lot of problems with Saltburn, and I was like, why is everyone loving this?
yeah.
And then honestly, I really liked when he had sex with the ground. I was like, oh, finally something I haven't seen before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that moment, that was the only part of the film that really worked for me. The rest I was like, I don't even think the story works. It's just kind of gratuitous.
Yeah, it was a little shoehorned. I mean, I also like now that you mentioned that scene, I think it was a missed opportunity. They didn't have like a POV of the soil while that took place. That would have been cool.
Yeah. It was the best. Well, anyway, I maybe I'm the first person to ever say like that was the best scene in that movie, but that's my hot take.
Jeff's best scenes of 2024.
Best scene in 2024. I was like, skip to the end of Saltburn is what I say.
Right.
Although, yeah, I guess whatever. It's nice to look at that lead actor. It's nice to look at.
Yeah, I forget the name now, but Barry Kof is probably this generation, whatever generation they're a part of, is like probably gonna be one of the best actors of their generation for sure.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, you went second on overrated, which means you get to go first on a lesser known film that people should seek out.
Okay, lesser known film, and I'm going to say rest in power to the writer director of this film because they passed away earlier this month. Jeff Baena, who made this movie Horse Girl that kind of got buried, I think, on Netflix. And I think partially because it was over COVID and lockdown, but it's a amazingly surreal movie about mental illness, about disillusionment, with aspects of horror and suspense and whimsy. It's starring Alison Brie, so there's like a brevity to it, or levity, I mean. And yeah, it's just like it balances all these like genre fluid aspects so well. I actually loved it. I think I don't know if cult classics still are being made if in this like hyper world of information turnover, but like I think Horse Girl should and will be a cult classic in 5 or 7 years.
Not gonna lie, I never even heard of it, and I think Alison Brie is always great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the people in it. Yeah, Molly Shannon, Paul Reiser, great people. And I see that it was released on Netflix February 2020.
Yeah, February 2020.
So a couple weeks after they debuted that film, the world changed.
Yeah.
And somehow the guy with the abusing tigers became like Tiger King became the biggest thing in the world during COVID instead of this movie.
Yeah.
That's how bad our culture is.
Yeah. Well, at least we had Last Dance too, though. Tiger King and Last Dance.
I didn't watch it.
You ever watch The Last Dance? The Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls?
Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah, I thought you said Tiger King, The Last Dance, like because there was a Tiger King sequel. I was confusing it with the Tiger. Oh yeah, no, oh for sure.
All right, Hema, what do you think?
Hema, do you have a lesser known film that people should seek out?
Yes. Actually, I kind of forgot about this film until right now, until like this question was asked. Swing Kids.
I've seen that. That is great.
God,
it's a
forgotten gem.
Yeah, I think it's definitely overlooked, and like not everyone has seen it. Considering Christian Bale was in it, and a lot of other actors.
Right.
I think it touches a really good historical moment in Germany.
That was Great Depression era, right? And
No, it was like the
the
30s, 40s, like during
yeah,
World War II.
One, yeah, two, yeah.
And I remember I watched that movie in the 7th grade with my music teacher who was teaching us about jazz music and swing music at the time. So I definitely think for those who are into like the historical aspect of World War II, I recommend that film. It's a really great one. I can't believe I forgot it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's that film is, I mean, yeah, it's about it's about teenagers into swing music, but then during the day they're Hitler Youth.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That film is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't thought of that for ages. That was
Yeah, I just right now I was like, what's the movie that I
early 90s? Sorry,
yeah.
mid 90s?
Actually, I looked. It's 1993.
Yeah.
So
early
32 years ago.
Yeah.
Dang.
So,
and unfortunately, it's more relevant today than 93.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go figure.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. Excellent choices. See? All right.
Fun.
I don't know why I have to feel like I'm trying to convince Hema that it was fun to answer these questions. It's fun. You like talking about movies.
I do. I actually do. Like I enjoy watching films. It was part of my life growing up with my dad. So.
Oh, excellent. Well, I hope you two know that now that you're Film Invasion LA alumni is always welcome. Just come to screenings.
Oh, cool.
You got that sweet theater. Come watch movies. I extend it to all alumni are always welcome. You'd think the theater would be full of alumni, but not yet. But hopefully.
I gotta go see it.
Yeah, we'll pull up. I'll pull up.
Why not? There's going to be some good stuff. I've already started watching for the next, because I'm on the selection jury. And hot darn, when you see a great short film, because I start with the shortest first, you're just like, oh my God, we're going to have a good festival this year. All right, well, hey, I will wrap it up by first, I'm going to thank you, Hema and ETA, for hopping onto Zoom and talking to me about movies and whatnot for the Discover Indie Film podcast. We'll have a link to ETA's Instagram. Will be a clickable link in here so people can follow them and their work. And I'll add that the film that you two collaborated on, ETA wrote and directed, and Hema was the lead actor. That was White Gaze. Took home the Grand Jury Award.
And jury prize.
Featurette horror. And that was at Film Invasion LA. So anyway, if you want to learn more about this podcast, go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFwins. That festival I just mentioned, that's Film Invasion LA. We hold it every June. Just go to filminvasionla.com, and it's at Film Invasion LA on social media. It's sister festival that we hold every December. Always the week. I think it's always the weekend after Thanksgiving now. The theater. Oh man, the theater really helped us out. We were always before Thanksgiving. You get better attendance the weekend after. Go figure. So you can learn about that one if you go to ShermanOaksFF.com, and it's at ShermanOaksFF on social media. And finally, check out IndieChannel.tv, the website IndieChannel.tv. I have a good feeling you might be able to see White Gaze there in the near future. Or, hey, it might take a couple weeks to get this up, so maybe we can get everything done. But anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you both for doing this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you everyone who's listening.
Yeah, and happy Lunar New Year, too.
That's right. It started today. Year of the Snake.
Yeah, the snake.
I had to confess to my good friend from China today that I'm not a fan of snakes. He's like, Happy Year of the Snake. And I'm like, Happy Lunar New Year. Snakes scare the shit out of me.
Well, may your fear bring good fortune and prosperity the upcoming year.
Thank you. That is exactly what he said. He's
Really?
did. I got the text right here. All right. Happy Lunar New Year, both of you. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.